What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got news about some new promo cards coming out in Japan, some championship cards, some trophy cards. Call them what you will. I don't think, they are awesome. And if you are even remotely a fan of the One Piece trading card game, you're going to look at this and go, oh my goodness, they're awesome, I want them, and I know that, because I looked at these and I went, oh, yeah, they're awesome, I want them. So let's start off with flagship battles. Flagship battles are going to be giving away a Kaido. I say giving away. You're going to have to go and earn these. Now, these are reprints from older cards, some not very old at all. But the Kaido is an older card. It is the one from OP01. So we're actually going right back to the beginning here. We're going back to, well, probably not the first Kaido, because obviously we had the starter deck, but still a very early Kaido. Of course, it had the alternate art in that same set as well. And this is the gigantic 10 cost 12,000 power. Still the joint highest power we've seen, and there aren't many that hit that at all. And on play, Don -6. If your leader has the Animal Kingdom Pirates type, KO every character other than Kaido. All of yours, all of your opponents. Gigantic, big board wipe of a character, but a very cool one. And yeah, if you want to play this, and I know Kaido's still a good deck, I'm still seeing it topping tournaments here, there, and everywhere, and any purple Kaido deck is going to be able to benefit from this. It's a very, very cool card. There are games that are won because you hit this, and yay, and there are games that are lost because you don't hit it early enough, and boo, and round we go. Either way, phenomenal card. And if we've got Kaido as one of the promos, it only makes sense that we get Big Mom as the other, Charlotte Lin. Now, this is the one from Starter Deck 7, so a fairly later card, I think it's fair to say. And this is the 7 cost 8,000 power. And this is the one where on play, your opponent has to make a choice. Either they trash a card from the top of their life, or you get to add a card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. Remember, the wording here is potentially slightly confusing, but the deal is really very simple. Whichever one helps you, that's what the choice is here. Your opponent doesn't get a life, or you don't lose a life. Either you gain a life, or your opponent loses a life. They get to make the choice as to which one. It is worth pointing out, of course, that one of the things that Yellow tends to do is have extra... They have extra trigger, basically. They have more cards with trigger. So if you're letting your opponent playing Charlotte Lin put a card from their deck on top of their life, that does actually give them a chance they're going to end up hitting a decent trigger, which might not be something you want them to have. Just something to bear in mind. I love that they've gone for the pair of Kaido and Big Mom. Thematically, of course, within the manga, this makes perfect sense. And it's just cool. And obviously, they've clearly gone for good cards here. And that's one of the things that makes me really happy about the way this game is run. The people choosing these promos are very clearly paying attention to what's good and making sure that they're giving us good playable cards to actually use as these promos. And I know a lot of people, these are the kind of cards where you get them and whack them in your binder and you don't want to get rid of them and you don't want to ruin them putting them in a deck, etc. That's absolutely fine. But just the fact that they're actually taking the time to get these really good cards in makes me very happy indeed. And that's a flagship battle. Those are pretty thematic and pretty lovely. And we've got a similar thing going on here with your Championship 2023 promos. These are for the second preliminary round. And up till now, we've had Sakazuki, Kazan, and Borsalino. I.e., you've had the Admirals. And that's been rather lovely. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves the three captains. And I think this is fantastic. I love this. Obviously, different promos for essentially different levels of winning here. And I just think this is fantastic. I think this is brilliant. I think this is awesome. And I could not be much more of a fan of this. Because I love the fact that they've basically turned around and they've gone, right, let's actually take the time here and give, thematic cards. So if you get far enough in the event that you actually earn all three of these promo cards, well then you've got a lovely trio of promo cards, which is awesome. And then this is the point where you realise that they are purple and red, and you realise they are actually the ones from Starter Deck 10. I said some of these were more recent. Of course, Starter Deck 10 has only actually been out for a very short period of time in Japan. We haven't had it over here, obviously. And we're already getting the alternate arts of these cards. And I just think that's a really cool way round of doing it, honestly. We've got your Luffy, we've got your Law, and we've got your Kaido. So let's start off with Luffy, shall we? So what have we got from the Luffy here? Well, we got ourselves a 10 cost, 11,000 power. And we've got Rush. When you play it, you can attack straight away, no waiting for a turn. And once a turn, when your opponent activates Blocker, you can KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 8,000 power or less. And I kind of love this because it puts your opponent in this super awkward situation where either they don't activate Blocker, and that's really good for you because your attack goes through, or they do activate Blocker and they stop your attack, but it's not actually that good for them because they've got to give up one of their characters, except you get the choice as to which character you KO here, and it's just a really good card. Like, it's expensive, don't get me wrong. It's an extremely expensive card, and it's one that, you know, it's going to be kind of like a late game thing, probably a one-shot deal and all of that. I understand. But it's one of those that's so gosh darn powerful, you just don't really mind because you're getting so much value. You know, the fact that it's got Rush is a great start. And then the fact that your opponent can either leave it unblocked, really good for you, or let you KO one of their 8,000 power or lower characters, really good for you. And either way you look at this, this looks really, really good. I am a fan of this Luffy. As for the Law here, we've got 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and we've got Blocker. It's a decent blocker. It's not some kind of stunning, phenomenal Uber blocker or anything silly like that. It is a decent blocker. However, we've also got a second skill coming in here. On play, Don -1. If your opponent has 7 or more cards in their hand, trash 2 cards from your opponent's hand, which is potentially a little bit awkward because you want to kind of play this so you've got a blocker on the field, but there is a possibility that you're then going to want to save it so that you can, you know, play this at the right time, wait till your opponent's got a good enough hand that you're getting full value, and then you could be in this awkward situation where you kind of want to hold off because you're sure that in a turn or two you're going to get really good value out of the hand disruption skill. But you don't want to hold off because you need to have the blocker on the board. Now, I do understand that that's going to put you in an awkward situation sometimes, but the fact that you're, you know, worrying about how to make the most of all of these skills kind of tells you what a good card this could end up being. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a little bit of a fan. And then we finish off with Captain Eustace Kid, 7 cost, 8,000 power. On play or when attacking, Don -1. Up to one of your leaders gains 1,000 power until the start of your next turn. So you got a pretty big beefy character here that's just beefing up your leader at the same time. But bearing in mind, you know, the kid leader here has 5,000 power and 5 life as a dual color character, which is kind of cool. If you have 4 or more life, however, you get -1,000 power. That's a downside. But when attacking, you can Don -1 to give yourself an extra 2,000 power. Combine it with this one and you've got yourself an extra 3,000 power. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. That looks like a pretty powerful leader pretty gosh darn quickly. These promos are always amongst the most sought after promos. They've got to be one. They're given away at bigger tournaments. They can be a pain to actually try and get hold of. However, they are amazing. They've got that very distinctive style that One Piece are clearly going for here. And I just think this is absolutely brilliant. I love these. I don't think I'll probably ever win them. But I would like to, ladies and gentlemen. And I love the fact they're going heavy on the theme. That makes me very happy. But now I want to know what you think. I want to know which one of these cards you want. I want to know which ones you're going for. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.